As Kim Soohyun is making headlines for the most disturbing reasons, his past is being re-examined, and his chaotic film with Sulli is back under scrutiny. From unnecessary explicit scenes to letting her take the fall while he stayed silent, the truth about his role in her hate train is more shocking than you remember. Many were disgusted by the revelations about Soohyun and the late actress Saeron, but for others, this only reinforced what they had suspected for years. His past had already raised red flags, from concerning Psyworld posts to inappropriate comments about young actresses, yet his team had worked hard to keep his reputation spotless. He climbed the ranks to become the highest paid actor, with most of his past going unquestioned. But K-pop fans never forgot the disaster that was his 2017 film with Sulli, a movie that fueled relentless attacks on her while he walked away without facing a scratch. The first announcement of Real came in April 2015, when Key East Entertainment revealed that Soohyun would be making his return to the big screen with the film. The initial reports about Real described it as an action thriller with noir elements. According to the articles, the movie would center around a reporter searching for a skilled problem solver who handles requests from the city's darker side. It was also revealed that Soohyun would play the role of the main character, Jang Tae-hyung, a cold, ambitious man aiming to build a casino hotel, showcasing a completely different side of him. Additionally, Soohyun was reported to have personally funded the movie with $7 million, but at this point, aside from details about the plot and Soohyun's character, there was little information about the cast or the movie's release date. In December 2015, an insider revealed that Sulli had been offered the female lead role starring alongside Soohyun. Despite the lack of confirmation, netizens quickly attacked the director, demanding that she not be cast. Comments on online forums said things like, "I wonder what the director's thinking. Does he want his movie to fail? And does anyone else hear the investors crying?" At this point, the casting wasn't even confirmed, but netizens had already decided the movie would fail, blaming Sulli for it. Just 2 weeks later, news came out that Sulli would indeed be part of the movie, alongside actors like Lee Seung-min and Sung Dong-gil, with the cast and crew posting a picture together. She would play the role of Song Yoo-hwa, a VVIP rehabilitation specialist who treats Jang Tae-hyung, played by Soohyun. Following the news, the hate towards her became intense once more, with many saying she didn't deserve to share the screen with actors like Seung-min, Dong-gil, Lee Kyung-young, and Soohyun. People claimed she lacked the talent for such roles and hoped she would have minimal screen time, believing she didn't deserve more. However, the comments fizzled down after a bit, as the movie hadn't even started shooting at that point. As usual, fans of the cast were eagerly awaiting updates on the process of filming, but the biggest news didn't come until 3 months later. In March 2016, reports revealed that Sulli would have an explicit scene in the film, marking her first bed scene as an actress. So if you thought the public was nasty and vile to her for being a part of the movie, it would be nothing compared to the vitriol she'd received for this news. Many slammed her for the choice, making degrading remarks and bringing up her relationship with Choiza, saying that she would use everything that her then boyfriend taught him. Some commenters treated Soohyun like a victim, acting as if Sulli was pressuring him into filming the scene. They even felt sorry for him and urged him to leave the project before it was too late, which didn't make sense in the slightest. Given that Soohyun funded the movie, it's likely he had a say in casting, especially since his cousin first worked as a production director and later became the film's director. So the idea that Sulli pressured him into joining the cast or doing the explicit scene seemed completely absurd and ridiculous. This wouldn't be the last time that we would hear of the explicit scene, as it seemed like the marketing team was using it as the main promotional material. It came to a point that netizens just started wondering how explicit the scenes were for the marketing of the movie to focus on them so much. The answer came in November of that year, when an insider shared that Sulli attempted her first bed scene and accidentally exposed her bust. According to them, typically, actresses in such scenes are cautious and often use body doubles, but it was said that Sulli surprised everyone by performing many of the scenes herself. The insider went on to say that although she did use a body double for full body exposure and some other provocative moments, Sulli took on a significant portion of the scenes. They stated that her decision to expose her top was a challenge, but she impressed the producers with her acting. The comments were as vile as one would expect, with users writing things like, "How is it that I'm not surprised by this article at all?" and "Feels like we've seen it all already." One person questioned whether Sulli was given the role just for the publicity surrounding her exposure, a concern that many of her fans had as well. Considering the film was funded by Soohyun and directed by his cousin, Sulli was simply doing her job as an actress, so it was puzzling why she was facing such relentless attacks and why no one stood up for her. In May 2017, just a month before the movie's release, the trailer was released, sparking conversations about whether Sulli's involvement could cause the film to fail. A post titled, "Will Sulli's controversial image help or harm her upcoming movie release?" appeared on online forums, featuring a screenshot of Sulli from the trailer. Netizens quickly began accusing her of potentially ruining Soohyun's chance at a successful movie. Many commented that they loved him but wouldn't watch watch the film because of her, while others expressed sympathy for the investors who had to deal with her. It was clear that the weeks leading up to the film's release wouldn't be easier for Sulli since the public was set on making her life a living hell. Around the same time, a still from one of Sulli's scenes was also shared, showing her sitting across from Soohyun in a red shirt. Unsurprisingly, the public tore into her, judging her acting from a single frame, saying she didn't fit the role and that being in the movie was hurting her image. Mind you, all of this criticism and assumption was based on just one picture. Things would only get worse the next day when Sulli and the rest of the real cast attended the press conference for the film. The first thing that netizens chose to attack her on was the fact that she was late to the conference. During the event, actor Song Dong-gil complimented Sulli's dress, saying that it looked like a field of flowers. He went on to reveal that Sulli's lateness was due to her changing between dresses, and she admitted that it took longer to choose because it was her first public appearance in a while. Next, they targeted her comments about the set's atmosphere. Sulli mentioned that Sung-gil was kind to her, and Soohyun ensured the environment remained relaxed. She also admitted that when she first read the script, she had difficulty understanding it, so much so that she immediately put it down after the first read. She said that it took her several attempts, around 3 readings, before she started to grasp what was happening. By the time she had read it for the 6th time, things began to click, but despite the initial confusion, she was determined to be part of the film from the very beginning. In fact, to best portray the role of Yuhwa, she went as far as to visit a hospital every day to watch and study how therapists rehabilitate patients. As usual, she was criticized for everything: being late, struggling with the script, visiting hospitals, and even just showing up. Throughout all the hate, neither Soohyun nor anyone from the crew spoke up to defend her. He even went as far as scolding her in public as if she was a child and not his equal. During a press event for Real, a reporter asked Sulli a question, but before she could even get her thoughts out, Soohyun interrupted with, "Speak normally." The way he dismissed her made it seem like she wasn't making any sense, embarrassing her in front of everyone. Let's get one thing straight though, Sulli wasn't even the main character, so there was no real reason for her to be dragged into all these events, but somehow it was obvious to everyone that she was the one bringing attention to the movie. As expected, when Real hit theaters in June 2017, the reviews were brutal. Anyone who blamed Sulli for the film's failure quickly had to face reality. The movie flopped all on its own. While her explicit scenes stirred controversy, it wasn't what sank the film. The real issue: a messy script, a confusing plot, and direction so bad that some scenes felt more like unintentional comedy than a serious thriller. A user wrote, "They tried to make it on film noir style with a deeper meaning, but they failed. Some of the scenes just turned out to be ridiculous." The film's failure, along with its reputation as one of the worst in Korean history, only highlighted how unfair the backlash against Sulli had been. When she admitted it took her multiple reads to grasp the script, people mocked her, calling her dumb and unfit to act. But once the movie was released, even critics agreed the plot was incomprehensible. The script was a mess, and even the director himself seemed unsure of what story he was trying to tell. As more people began questioning the film's disastrous outcome, attention finally shifted toward Soohyun. Many criticized his decision to hand the director's chair to his cousin, who was clearly unqualified for such a major project. Some even speculated that they knew the movie was doomed from the start, so they leaned into controversy by promoting Sulli's bed scenes, with rumors circulating that her explicit scene was deliberately leaked for publicity. Yet, despite the overwhelming issues with the script, direction, and overall production, Sulli remained the scapegoat. She was attacked just for posting selfies while the movie flopped as if she alone was responsible for its failure. Now, with shocking new accusations surrounding Soohyun and Saeron, along with past rumors about him distancing himself from So Ye-ji during her scandal, some netizens are starting to connect the dots. They've noticed how Korean media conveniently avoided linking Soohyun to negative news, whether it was Kim Ji-won's picture appearing instead of his in bad press for Queen of Tears, or the eerie silence around his alleged ties to Saeron. This pattern has led many to theorize that back then, too, the media worked to protect him. Rather than publishing articles about how Real flopped because of poor writing and direction, they focused on blaming Sulli and fueling outrage over her explicit scene. It's just speculation, but the way criticism was redirected raises serious questions about what was really going on behind the scenes. The hate reached its peak when Soohyun became emotional during the VIP screening of Real. Initially, people thought his tears were in response to the negative reviews. However, rumors quickly spread that his emotions were really tied to the supposed issues caused by Sulli's controversies on set. Despite Soohyun's agency clarifying that he was simply overwhelmed by the presence of the production team at the screening, Osun still managed to point the finger at Sulli, blaming her for the tension in writing. It seems that Sulli's SNS controversy ahead of the release was difficult, so he was burdened with the burden of being a young actor. Once again, Soohyun stayed silent, leaving Sulli to bear the weight of the backlash on her own, even as his film failed. After the chaos settled, Sulli remained a target of online hate, while Soohyun left for the military, leaving behind the mess he had contributed to. While we're not saying Soohyun was the sole cause of Sulli's tragic end, his actions can't be overlooked. He funded a movie that used her controversial scenes for promotion, allowed his cousin to direct despite clear incompetence, and stayed silent as Sulli faced an onslaught of hatred. When the movie bombed, Soohyun let Sulli take the blame, even though it was evident that the film had many problems. While the public was going to attack Sulli no matter what, Soohyun had a choice to step in, to make things easier for her, but instead, he let her handle it alone. It's heartbreaking to think that Sulli, who worked so hard and took a risk for this role, became the victim of endless cruelty for simply trying to expand her career while her male co-star got pitied and victimized just because he had to act alongside her. Sadly, it's a constant reminder that women are often the first to be blamed and punished no matter the situation.